first episode of the GPK Boys. I'm Nick Atef.
And I'm Ryan Kazera. Just give you a brief background on myself as far as collecting GPK goes. Started with the third series back in the day, had a very long hiatus, and been back at it for about a year now, and can't get enough.
You certainly can, Ryan. I've been on the boards for about 3-4 years now. A pretty heavy Nasty Nick collector. I did collect as a child, but I look back and I only started collecting at OS 10, so I was a very lame childhood collector, but my adult collection is impressive. So for our episode today, we like to do it in 3 segments. We're going to give you GPK news in the beginning. We've got an amazing interview with Stevie Coachella, and at the end, we're going to have we're going to take all the rest of the topics, and we're calling that GPK Talk. So what I wanted to talk about today was the newest release we've got, which is Food Fight. And there's a little bit of confusion on the 4 different types of boxes you can get, so I figured let me just run this down for you real quick. You've got 4 different price points. The first one, $5, standard value pack, 22 cards, and you get 3 cereal cards in there. Then at your next jump is the $20 price point, and you get the blaster tins, which looks like a little refrigerator. They have a sticker on it that says 10 packs and 3 chef stickers you get with that one. For your next donation to Tops, for $50, you get the retail hobby box. That box is just a cardboard box. Like there doesn't look like a fridge. It's not made out of tin, so you can really differ it from everything else. And then last but not least is what all us collectors love, which is the collector's tins, because they guarantee a hit. And there is a big yellow sticker on front of that says Collector's Edition. Just don't be confused that the collector's box and the blaster tin look very similar in pictures, but I'm sure when you actually hold them in your hand, you'll see the difference because one's gonna have just way more stuff in it. But just be aware, $5, $20, $50, and $100. Those are the 3 different retail options for Food Fight.
And I would imagine you'd start seeing those, Nick, here pretty soon if you haven't yet at your local Walmart and Target. Me being in upstate New York, for some reason it tends to get here a little bit later than everybody else's. But I would imagine, if you haven't had a chance to pick some of those up, they're probably sitting on the shelves at a store near you.
Unless you're Canadian, and then you have a small chance of getting the value packs, that $5 value pack at Toys R Us here. Otherwise, you have to have a friend in the US.
Yeah, I miss Toys R Us myself. There's not any around here anymore, and I don't even know if that's still a U.S. thing at all.
The Canadian one and the American one apparently they're run like 2 totally separate businesses. So the American one, where that one sort of imploded, the Canadian one was able to sort of carry itself for a bit. So we still have them here.
Interesting. Something I obviously never knew at all. So what I wanted to do now is we want to kind of go through and highlight people in the different groups on Facebook that are kind of doing things out of the box or doing something a little different. And if you guys have had a chance, and he posts them on pretty much any page you might be a part of, but Barry Nibert is really, really doing something extremely creative with his projects. What he's essentially doing is taking the old classic 2D card, the old classic Garbage Pail Kids 2D card, and he's making them 3D. He's essentially using a case.
He uses the one-touch case.
The one-touches, yeah, and it gives you the room to be able to put extra stuff in there. So he's using regular household items to go through and actually make these cards go from 2D to 3D. Some of the ones that I've seen him do, you guys have probably seen him as well, and we'll show him here. He had a dead Fred that had, almost like bullet holes and blood splatter on it. He also did an amazing Fry Ryan for Ryan De La Torre that, just kind of had smoke flowing throughout it, and you could actually, it felt like the card was burnt, and you could actually physically see the smoke. And he's just doing an incredible job with that stuff, and it's so out of the box to take the ideas on what these cards are based off of and really make it pop the way he is. And just an incredible guy, and I know he's been busier than anything with it. He calls the Project Reject, and again, essentially the thought is, these were rejected by Tops for whatever reason, which obviously is not the case, but it's a really cool play on it.
Yeah, I saw him do a Dead Ted, and it was all on top of a bunch of rocks, and it was crazy. So I actually reached out to him for commission, and I actually appreciated. He turned back and said, "Hey, I can't. I literally don't have the time. I can't." And I was like, I actually really respect the fact that you're not going to take my money and keep it for a year. You only take it if you can commit to the project. On a side note, he also told me how much he charges. I'm not going to put the money out there because his prices should change, Barry, because you're worth it. but they were really reasonable for the magic that he creates.
Yeah, and again, it's just something so different, and that's something that we want to continue to do. Is when people are putting different commission pieces or sketch pieces out there, I always want to be able to take a look at and see what they're doing. And kind of a side note, let me just grab my tea real quick here.
Ooh.
Kind of a side note on that, whenever we have the drops for these sets, so you look at like the food fight drops, so on and so forth, on the day that the sets actually release, people are putting their sketches out there, and you really get an idea of everything that's going on as far as what you can collect. So usually for myself, whenever I see the sketches, there's maybe one or two that I fall in love with and absolutely have to have. For me, when I see these sketches, what are you doing different? What are you doing that's going to catch my eye that's not the same thing everybody else is doing? And again, those are some of the things that I want to highlight going forward. But when we look at the art overall on Food Fight, and again, Nick, you and I had talked about it. I mean, it really is impressive stuff. And everybody's really just being a lot more creative and really taking their art to the next level.
They're super duper pushing themselves. The sketches are way more exciting than the actual card art, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I'm much more excited to see those than any new images that actual Tops actually created, right? I really like the stuff that the guys created by hand.
Yeah, completely agree. So, be on the lookout for Food Fight, obviously. Again, if you haven't gotten boxes, check Tops in Walmart, or if, you're in Canada, you can check Toys R Us. I won't say KB Toys again, but, and let's see what you guys end up pulling out of there. I'll just talk about my experience real quick because I got a case of collector's boxes in. Tins are awesome. The fridge magnets are really cool. The reds are whatever to me, but I got quite a few of those. But the new addition to Food Fight as well is they are really packing a lot of autos in there. So I got some Engstrom autos. I'm trying to think, there was another Smokin' Joe that I pulled out of there, and they're really, really cool. The one that I got that I had shipped off already was a Nasty Nick autograph from Engstrom, and it just was incredible looking. So now maybe you're not pulling that sketch or anything else you maybe kind of had in your mind to pull, but you're getting autos of just about every card, and they're coming on a regular basis. For me, opening that whole the whole case that I had, I think I probably pulled 5 autos out of there.
And the autos are numbered to what?
Numbered to 80. I'm glad you asked that, Nick. So again, you got 80 of each card that's out there. Obviously, some of the cards are going to be cooler than other ones, but I'll tell you as well, just to kind of highlight Food Fight, I really, really like the art that I'm seeing out of there. I think that it's a lot more creative than 35th Anniversary was, and you've got a lot of really, really cool different takes on some of the classic characters as well. So I would tell you guys again, if you haven't checked out Food Fight, definitely go look for some.
Well, that's GPK news for you. Next up, we have an awesome interview with Stevie Coachella. And the man that needs no introduction, Stevie, aka Stevie Coachella, aka Stevie the Break God, aka Stevie the Bootleg Break God, aka Stevie not suitable for work sometimes. I hope you caught it before it got deleted. Welcome to the show, Stevie. Thanks for joining us, brother.
What's going on, guys?
Glad to have you, man.
Have you?
It's really good to be here, man. Let me turn my speakers up so I can hear you guys better here.
Now, Stevie, we're just going to ask you those GPK questions that everybody wants to know.
All right.
Please tell us where your love for GPK started.
It's the weirdest story. I was just thinking about it the other day. It was actually church. The least likely, like, I grew up in a very kind of conservative Baptist church, and GPK was a no-no. You could not have them in church. If they were seen, they were confiscated, and you would never see them again. That being said, one of my buddies had some, and he was like, "Yo, these are what they're talking about." It was OS2. I remember seeing like Mug and Megan, and I remember seeing all Ugly. I remember seeing Ugly being like, "Yo, that dude's fat as fuck." Like, I just remember being like, "Dude, I love karate. Like, I think he's something to do with karate." But yeah, it was in church, and he was like, "Yo, you can't tell anybody. You can't tell your parent." I was 8, I think. I was either 7. I think I was 8. Yeah. And I was like, "I'm not going to tell anybody." Like, I didn't want to get my friend in trouble. And I was like, "But you got to tell me where you got these." And he's like, "Nixon's." And I was like, "I don't even know what that is." It was a little corner store in the town that my church was at, but I lived like, 20 minutes the other way. So I just like begged my dad many, many weeks in a row to get me some, and he had heard about them. And my mom was like, well, just let him get a few. And they hated them. They hated them. But I would, anytime I had any money, I went to Nixon's. I would beg my dad after church. I was like, I got this $1, I can get 4 packs. Like, it was the best.
25 cents American is a lot of money in my world.
But right. I mean, like, seriously, like I would like try to borrow change from kids in at lunch and stuff, and it wasn't to get more lunch, it was to get cards. It was to get some Garbage Pail Kids after school, or that Sunday, because the only place. And then I saw them at 7-Eleven one time, and they were 35 cents, and I was like, Mom, can I still grab a couple packs? And she was like, all right, just don't tell Daddy. My mom was a little more loose than my dad was about that kind of stuff. But yeah, they didn't want them in schools either. Like, if you got caught with them in school, you got them at the end of the year. So like, if they took them in September when you were like even at recess, you didn't get them Johns back until June. I don't even remember getting any of mine back.
Boo!
Yeah. So the principal was like, hey, my son likes these, I'm gonna give them to him.
So you now gone from Garbage Pail Kids in church to breaking open boxes and boxes of the most premium sapphires, and creating this amazing community of breakers. Can you tell the people watching like what goes into a break?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. Like my bootleg pack breaks are pretty easy, I'd say. Well, the way it started doing the breaks for spots was I bought a Canadian, the all new OS 9 box. I think you were in on that.
I was in on that. I did.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, everybody's looking for that semicolon right now. I'm just gonna try to buy a box, and then we'll just sell them by the pack or something. I was trying to figure it all out. And then as the time went on, it just, like, for the bootleg breaks, I gotta write people's names on little sheets of paper and fold them up and throw them in a hat. When I'm in the breaks room, we just do them on random.org when I'm with my man Daniel Sitzer. You can see him at We Ship Next Day Breaks for all sports needs. I mean, he does GPK sometimes, but all mainly football and baseball. But yeah, he just said to me, he was like, yo, this could be huge. Like, I saw what he was doing, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. Like, I wonder if we could do that for Garbage Pail Kids. And he was like, do it. I mean, just do it. Get a page going. Cause I mean, I was doing breaks, except I was doing drunken mailbag breaks at night, awesome. Blasted. I wouldn't go live until I was blasted. Not because I was camera shy, but I thought it was funnier. And Bob kept egging me on. He was like, dude, just have a few more and then go on. So I'd be like on my 15th beer, and I'd be like, I think it's time to open the mailbag. See how it goes. It's gonna be great. Yeah, so I was doing those on the Deal or No Deal page.
So from mailbags to sapphire boxes, to also C3 cases now too, right?
Yeah, we did one, and then I think Danny might have done a second one on his own, but that a lot goes into that. Like, I give it up to Sean, who's on his second Chrome 3 case break. I mean, that is intense.
Dude, it was like hours, dude. It was hours.
I think he goes pretty slow. Like, me and Dan were ripping through, like, all right, no hit, no hit, like, and then the other person was taking him like, okay, 93A, 102, like. With 2 people, it wasn't that bad.
So obviously we all appreciate you. You're a huge member of the community. You move a lot of things forward for a lot of people. Can you share with us your 3 top GPK items?
Yeah, you said to have them ready, but I don't.
Okay, so tell us about it.
Honestly, I don't really have any big ticket items.
No, we're not asking big. What's your favorite?
My favorite is here, I'll grab that. It's right here.
Awesome. We can check out the Wicked poster in the background while we wait.
Yeah, what's he got over on the right side? Is this a paint collection or something? I'm trying to figure out what's over on the right side over here.
Bianca!
Hey, Bianca.
First lady of GPK.
It is First Lady of GPK. Absolutely.
Yeah. The slut of GPK.
Oh, we've deleted those since, so nobody knows.
Oh my God, that's so funny though. We're just being idiots. Come on.
Not suitable for work.
Apparently.
Right. Yeah, I should have said that. All right, so a couple things. I got this it's a negative from
Oh, it's a beauty.
Is it thick? Or is it a thick?
It looks from the side, it looks pretty thick. You can kind of see where the white in between. It looks pretty thick, and then it's got this little certificate of authenticity by Mike Jasperson.
Is it aluminum? Like what?
You know what? I've never opened it up, but from what I've heard, it's a bunch of negatives all stacked on top of each other, and I believe there's 4, kind of like a plate. Because I've seen other OS1 Stevie negatives, where they were a different black and white hue from but yeah, this is like my pride and joy. I love that thing. I look at it every day. I kiss it sometimes. Like, I'm a freak.
Where'd you get it from? Where'd you get that from, Stevie?
That's from Angela Silva when she was selling off. She was selling off a bunch of her stuff, and she had a bunch of different negatives. And I was battling against AJ, not AJ Boot, AJD, I think, because he's got like he showed me his negatives once. He had like 50 or 100, and he was going for it, and we were going back and forth by $5, and I hit the number, and she said deal, and he kept going, and then he was like, "Hey, it's over," and I was like, "Yeah, dude, sorry." She said, "Yeah." I mean, I guess we just hit the number. Wasn't that high? I mean, I think I paid $380. Which is not bad. But it was like right in the middle of quarantine, didn't have a job, used half of a stimulus check. I mean, 3/4, 4,
so
6.
It's free, really?
What?
If you use a stimmy check, it was free.
Right. Well,
yeah.
Got some other stuff I really like. Are some of my favorite stuff. It's the card that came with the binder. It's the Swedish
John. What's the deal with those? I saw somebody post, and they went for a pretty penny.
Oh, these are expensive because there's a set that goes along with this, but this card, the back is a card.
Oh, that's one.
That's
card.
awesome.
That's one card.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the back, it actually has a number. It says 81. So I guess this is the front, and then this is the back. There's a little 81 in the corner. But they have a set that looks exactly like this, like the same like style, like how it's like a little bit different of a style. But this only came with the binder. There was a binder that went to that set, and this card came with the binder.
Oh.
So
what series? That's just it's just like it was a card that went with a piece of merchandise.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it wasn't a series. It wasn't a subset.
So that I mean, you can find this. The sets are actually pretty expensive, but you can find those. These don't come along that often because nobody really, you had the binder and it was in there and whatever when you were a kid. I mean, it came out in, I think this one came out in like 89 or something.
Really? That's that old, huh?
I'm pretty sure. Don't mark my words on that.
It's got a chromey look to it too.
It does. I thought it was some kind of chrome at first.
And then I've got my mini twins of the bikini.
Dope, dude.
And
those
Hebrew.
Are beautiful. Beautiful.
I got these off of Jeremiah Scott. What?
Has Brent my Snooty Sam?
Yeah, he doesn't know about them. Nah, I wasn't gonna tell him either. I might trade him for like that Stevie Red, but that's about it.
That'd be sweet, bro.
Okay.
So thanks for showing us those.
I'm not that into PSA. I think they look cool and everything, but I've got a 9, 8, and 7.
Oh,
nice.
I don't have a 10. 10s are really expensive.
Yeah.
But right when I started back, maybe like 2 years ago or something, I got this for like the 9 for like $40-$45. Now they're like pretty expensive.
That's the price of an 8 right now.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
So while you're looking at that, Stevie, also answer this: is there anything you're looking for now? Like, is there anything you're looking for? Is there anything?
Stevie parallels, Stevie Sapphire parallels that nobody is moving off of because how many have you actually seen?
I don't know if I've seen a single one, to be honest with you.
Well, okay, so I know where they all are. Caleb's got the pad.
Oh, he does, right?
Brent has a red. Steven Edgerly has a gold. But Brent, I think Brent has a green too, and a teal, and I think Steven has a teal, and I have a teal. But I mean, other than that, nobody's seen a purple.
Where's the orange? No orange?
Nobody's. There was one. I've only seen a Geeky Gary orange, and that was in Jeremy Fander's set. I asked him because he was only doing A or B. I was like, is that Stevie or Gary? Because if it was Stevie in there, I'd be like, yo, let me find an orange Gary. Something. So literally, I have 4 base now because people just started feeling bad sending them to me like random mail, like, oh, cool, another base. And 1 teal. And that's it.
So then, Stevie, let me ask you a big question. If money was no option, what GPK item would you want yourself? And that doesn't mean it has to be expensive, but like, what is one thing you really wanted for yourself?
I mean, the one thing that I would get that would be expensive would be an OS1 box. An OS1 box. And I was thinking about the other day, that was the only question that I really like looked at, pondered, and tried to come up with an answer for. Dude, a Gem 10 OS1 set in one of those like black cases that I've seen.
Yeah.
We're all like,
bulletproof.
Tito,
I just got chills.
Tito Cauldron has one of those.
A Gem 10.
He's got a full box, and I believe they're all filled with Gem 10s. But this is Tito we're talking about, and that guy's got like everything.
I only know of him. I don't know what he's got or anything.
I just seen some pictures that have surfaced over the years, and I'm just like, what is going on here?
Because with somebody else who got, remember that dude? I can't remember exactly who it was, but he got robbed by like his stepmom out of the safe.
I heard
and he
about
had
that.
a bunch of those cases, those black cases full of Gem 10s, and they were gone. They held him ransom, and then he actually got them back. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know whether they were drug addicts or what, but they like robbed his ass, and that's what they stole. They stole all of his GPK, but luckily they didn't sell them.
We need to figure out who this is because we're going to do a featured episode on him coming up, just so you guys know. So we're going to interview him. We're going to interview the cops that interviewed him.
I think they did it just because they knew how much it meant to him, and it was more like just like a F you, like, if we steal your money, you can get more money, but you can't get your Gem 10 set back.
Well, Stevie, thank you so much for joining us. I do have one last question, and it's a community question. If you want, this is the opportunity that I'm going to give you to shout out a few people that you know in the community. Anybody that's maybe helped you along the way. Anybody that you find is a good community member.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, you two, obviously. I'm not just saying that because it's your show, but you two. The first person that comes to mind was Sam Grass. Bob and Luis got me into foreign. That's another thing. My Stevie foreign collection is second to none. I'm missing like maybe only like very, very few cards to get every single one. But yeah, Bob and Luis, definitely. The Dalkies. I mean, you could just go on and on with, basically, you got Caleb, my man Dan Sitzer, who got me, rolling into the breaks.
I actually do this question to confuse people because like this community is so tight knit and everybody really enjoys everybody that to give a small time to do a shout out,
yeah,
brain will go into circles because you literally want to shout out love to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an award show where they're like, I'd like to thank my agent and all that, but like you forget people. I mean, like right when we go off of here, I'm gonna be like, I forgot this person, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's Sybil, she's badass. All of my girls,
awesome.
All my girls, Norma. Kelly Eve, dude, I mean, I knew that I grew up with her, but I was looking at pictures of her now, and then I saw her dressed up as like an 80s chick with long, straggly blonde hair. And dude, I used to hang out with her a lot. Like she was one of my like roll doggies back in high school. She was a little bit older than me, like by a year or two. But yeah, Kelly Eve, we went to high school together. And Jason Robux lives 6.8 miles down the road.
Wow.
I can't wait to I mean, I only met him once, but it's during all this bullshit.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait till that calms down a little bit because, they're not really seeing anybody, but they're putting in a pool. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna bring my DJ shit down and we're gonna throw bangers. Like,
Oh God, yeah.
So tell us about the video.
it was well, for those of you who don't know about the video, my wife and I have been drinking one night. Surprise, surprise. Haven't been drinking lately, so I'm feeling good. But she was like, what if we did like, a break video where you're like breaking me on the table? And I was like, yes. Oh my God, I knew I loved her for some reason. She's so awesome. She has such fun ideas. So it was cool. Did you guys see the video?
I did.
I know
I
you
did not.
Do you still have it saved? Because it's gone.
I don't even know about it, Stevie. So I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Yeah,
after this.
so we have this little back and forth where I'm talking and she like flips her dress up. She's like, heard you want to break something on the and then she's like flips her dress up. She's like, you want to break this? And then I like throw her down on the table and like the phone falls off and you can just hear like a rattling.
We also got to see some of your side hip as well. So like there was a little bit of skin there.
Yeah. I pulled my pants down. I was going for the realism.
Love it.
Stevie, thank you very much for joining on that note.
Any more questions, Mikey P?
Any more pots you want to stir, Mike? Here's a question.
Speaking of Tito, here's the cauldron.
Well played. Stevie, you're one of our favorite guys. And again, we can't thank you for your time enough today, getting on and getting to know you a little bit more, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Love y'all.
Thanks.
Later, guys.
Talk to you soon. Peace. GPK.
And now we are in the section of the show called GPK Talk, where we are going to talk about things that stir you guys up. And I figure we're going to hit you where everybody's the most sensitive, and that is the fate and the future of C3. C3 came in with so much expectation. We loved it. We bought it. We ripped it. And then very quickly, a couple weeks after, Sapphire shows up and all of a sudden casts this gigantic shadow over C3. Not to say that C3 isn't beautiful, it just casts a shadow. So the question mark right now is, where is C3? Like, where is C3 going to go? My personal opinion, because of Sapphire, those November 2020 C3 prices need to come down. I think people are still wanting these sets. I think people need to finish up the stuff that they've invested, but I don't think the market can handle C3 staying at November 2020 prices.
Yeah, completely agree with you, Nick. Again, you and I had talked about it a little bit, as far as you were sending me some greens, I was sending you some black wavies. But when you look at the pricing of everything, I was paying upwards of $10 to $12 per green. And this was even the non-wave when these had first dropped. I decided I liked the color on it. That's the set I was really going to go after. And I'll tell you what, after I got to about 45, 50 of those cards, I just went, you know what? Not only do I not have the love for it, but I'm not going to pay the exorbitant prices for some of this stuff. So what I did was kind of left it by the wayside. I still have a lot of the greens here, but I went and I tried to recycle those and actually sell them. And I'll tell you, I could even get $7 to $8 for one of those cards. And right now, if you ask me, you might be lucky to get $5 for some of the single parallels that are coming out of there.
Right now, that's the case for sure. I mean, there will be an uptake a little bit. I know Mike has an opinion on this one.
Of course, Sapphire stole the thunder of Chrome 3. And the rumor is that Topps just did the production all together, and that's how the release dates went because of COVID, right? The printing press and all that stuff. And who knows if that's really true, but basically, people fell in love with Sapphire, and Sapphire was the first thing that came into Garbage Pail Kids that really lit the market on fire in terms of like the prices just going up, and up, right? I mean, a box, they started out at 50 retail, and then I bought my boxes for 120 each. I bought them when they hit eBay, okay? That was the average price. And now they're what, 450, almost $500, right? So Sapphire is awesome, but like that's roughly 16,000 boxes. How many of those are still around? Sapphire is slowly drying up. Chrome 4 is scheduled to come out this year. Great, that's awesome, but it's not Chrome 3. Everybody loves Series 3, right? And I just think that give it a little while. Food Fight is going to fade in the background. Sapphire is fading out, and Chrome 3 is going to be back because there's still a lot to open. There's still a lot of supers out there. And Chrome 3 has a lot of hits, right? You have the reds, you have the oranges, which look awesome, and all the waves, but you also have the autos. You got Tom Bunk autos. Tom Bunk is what, like 1,000,000 years old? Angstrom's like practically senile, so his stuff is going to go up like crazy. All the autos are really worth collecting. So anyway, my point is that I think the prices are slowly going to go back up. I think you're going to see boxes go for $150 again soon and higher, just like how old boxes of Chrome 2 and Chrome 1, they kind of age like a fine wine, and they'll continue to trend up.
You know what? I've been proven wrong a billion times when it comes to the GPK market. When you see a certain card enter the market, it'll usually go like this, and then it'll kind of go like this, and then out of nowhere, you wish you kept it because it ends up being over here. So, I mean, I don't disagree with you, Mike. It's one of those things that I've been around enough to know that I cannot predict the market when it comes to those things. I can just sort of guess on my feeling, but very well, that's a very big, huge possibility for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Nick. I mean, if you look at the cycle of anything within the GPK world, and again, specifically OS 1, although I don't know if it's fair to do it with OS 1 because of the fact OS 1 will always be cherished. But when I looked at the prices overall of OS 1, again, where there was a law in the summer, after Late to School came out, before 35th was introduced, everybody went nutty for OS 1. I mean, you saw a lot of the prices. If you had a Mint OS 1 card that was a common card, they're going for almost $20 on a lot of those. And, it was nice because I was really able to build a set off of that. But even so, it was an expensive way to build a set. I started buying, PSA 8s and trying to build the set that way. But everything within, at least, as long as I've been long collecting, which hasn't been all that long, but you see it, you see the blaster boxes now when they used to cost $20 going for $50, whether it's We Hate the 80s or something along those lines. So, just like anything else, if you don't like the prices now, hold on to it because the prices are going to come back at some point in time. And Mike, again, to your point, Sapphire really squashed what should have been the glory days of C3. And it's really too bad, but with Sapphire being a very limited production, the demand, I think, will always be there for Sapphire, but the supply is just about gone at this point. And once that happens, I think you're absolutely correct. People will come back and they will start to buy C3, especially as it gets closer to the C4 release. But again, if you guys have boxes and you're not opening them, I would keep them sealed at this point in time and wait for that price break.
Boxes are always the first thing to start to take an upturn on any series, and then the singles and all the other stuff usually tend to follow after that, I find.
Agreed.
So, do you guys mind if I do some quick thank yous to some people that I owe a thank you to? For example, I want to quickly thank John Laramie. The guy made this incredible sketch for me. Like, this guy's not a top artist, and like this is what he puts in his thank you cards. John, I love you. Daniel Goodroad, he made a sketch of me as me being eaten by Nasty Nick, and I fucking love it. Beautiful. Brian Siegel, I want to thank you. You know what you did. And then really quickly, Sarah Jack, Paul Scarborough, Chris Brute, and Jeremiah Jack. I had sold somebody a We Hate the 80s full set and found out there was 15 cards missing from it. And I thought to myself, how the hell am I going to find 15 of these random base cards? Those 4 people I just listed pulled together and they found them for me, and I really appreciate it. And that just shows how strong the community is.
Yeah, it's definitely, just to kind of give you one quick last story before we wrap everything up. I was doing breaks, and I don't know if you guys saw, but I had actually I accidentally shipped out a gold card to a person that I shouldn't have shipped it out to. And it was just really cool the way that went. And Roster Randy was cool enough to go, yeah, I put everybody on alert. He found the card and he actually shipped it himself over to the guy who had won it. And you know, anywhere else, you've got to wonder about people and their intentions and everything else. It just, for me, this community is so awesome that if you're looking for anything, I can't tell you how often people are like, hey, you know what? I'll just send it to you. Don't worry about it. You know, don't worry about shipping or trading me anything. And it just, you don't see that in all walks of life. And it just, you know, I love the groups for it, you know. It's something amazing.
Well, that's the whole reason why we did this show. And also the whole reason why we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Mike Ponovich, thank you for being the magic man on the show. Ryan, you're number one. And thanks for tuning into the first episode, guys. And hopefully there'll be many more to come.